Most people hear the name Yemen and think only of war, famine, and headlines filled with tragedy. But Yemeni's real story begins thousands of years before the modern world even existed, and it is one of the most astonishing untold histories on Earth. Long before Rome rose, before Athens debated democracy, Yemen was already a center of wealth, science, and global trade. Ancient Yemen was known as Arabia Felix, Happy Arabia. Not because life was easy, but because the land was rich, organized, and powerful. While much of Arabia was desert, Yemen mastered water. Over 2,500 years ago, the Marib Dam turned dry valleys into fertile farmland. It was one of the engineering wonders of the ancient world, so advanced that Rome itself studied it centuries later. Yemen wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. The world's most valuable substance once flowed through Yemen: frankincense and myrrh. These weren't perfumes, they were worth more than gold. Kings, emperors, and priests burned them in temples and palaces. Egyptian pharaohs, Roman emperors, and even biblical figures depended on Yemeni trade routes. Entire global economies quietly revolved around caravans crossing Yemeni lands. And here, as is something most people don't know, Yemen may be home to one of the oldest continuous civilizations in human history. The kingdoms of Saba, Himyar, Kataban, and Hadramaut ruled for centuries, leaving behind inscriptions, cities, and laws carved into stone, some of the earliest written Arabic ever discovered. You've probably heard of the Queen of Sheba, but history doesn't tell you she likely ruled from Yemen. Her kingdom wasn't legend. It was real, wealthy, and respected by the greatest powers of the ancient world. She didn't travel to meet Solomon as a curiosity. She came as an equal. Yemen also shaped the world in quieter ways. Coffee, the drink that fuels modern civilization, didn't spread globally from Europe. It spread from Yemen. The word mocha comes from the Yemeni port of Mocha, once the center of the world's coffee trade. For centuries, Yemen controlled coffee production so tightly that exporting live beans was punishable by death. Even architecture in Yemen tells a story of genius and resilience. In Shabam, people built skyscrapers of mud over 500 years ago, earning it the name the Manhattan of the desert. These buildings still stand, surviving centuries of earthquakes and storms. But perhaps the most painful truth is this: Yemen's tragedy is not that it was always poor or unstable. Its tragedy is that it once had everything: knowledge, trade, power, and culture, and the world forgot. Yemen is not just a war zone. It is a cradle of civilization, and its story didn't end. It's waiting to be remembered.